The beautiful game? Well, it has never been more beautiful than when played by Pep Guardiola's Barcelona.
Messi! Yes!
But it's Messi! It's Iniesta! At his peak, Messi was unplayable. He wasn't just breaking records, he was breaking logic. But what if I told you he didn't peak once, not even twice? Lionel Messi reached 4 completely different levels, each time evolving into something football had never seen before.
Feeds Messi early. Still Lionel Messi. Can anybody stop him? They can't.
This is not a story of one prime. It's the story of a man who ruled 4 different ages of football. At the start of the 2008 season, Barcelona was in transition. Pep Guardiola was appointed as the new head coach of Barcelona, and straight away he got to work. He got rid of superstars like Ronaldinho and Deco, and rather than get big-name transfers to replace them, his idea was to use the talent at La Masia and build a team around Messi. Despite a shaky start with a 1-0 defeat to Numancia in the league, Messi and Barca had picked up some serious form. They bounced back to a 9-game winning streak, a 21-game unbeaten run in La Liga, and on his part, Messi was having a demon season. In that unbeaten run, Messi had 27 goal contributions and was doing the same in Europe too. 5 goals and 2 assists in the opening 5 games of the Champions League, all from the right wing. Messi was already cooking up a storm that season, and then Pep Guardiola changed everything. Ahead of the match versus Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, Pep decided to test a theory that would go on to revolutionize football: the birth of Lionel Messi in the false 9 position. Messi was the main attacking force as Barcelona won the treble in 2008-09, with 23 goals in the league, second behind Diego Forlan. He was also the top scorer in the Champions League that season, despite it being the first with Pep in Barcelona's senior team. And the crazy part is, his game wasn't just about the goals. See, playing in that false 9 position, the idea was simple. Guardiola wanted to monopolize possession and create as many chances with movements off the ball, and Messi was the key. There was no doubt he could dribble, but moving him centrally, he created the stuff of nightmares for opposing defenders because they couldn't get close to him. 38 goals and 19 assists in 51 games in the 2008-09 season, the first time he was hitting the 30-plus mark for goals. While the 2009-10 season didn't go as planned from a collective standpoint, Messi in that role again was a revelation. There was talk about him underperforming in the Champions League, so he smashed 4 past Arsenal as a reminder of just how dangerous he could be. Goals in the semi-final and final of the Club World Cup, and 34 goals in La Liga, including 3 hat-tricks. Messi centrally was unplayable, 47 goals and 12 assists in 53 games in 2009-10. Despite Barca missing out on the Champions League and La Liga, Messi, just like the rest of the team, knew they needed more. But even this couldn't prepare the world for what followed next. 2010-11 Barcelona, a team so good it's often referred to as the most complete team football has ever seen. Opposition managers were left in awe about how they dominated games, and the key to that was once again Messi. The central theme was always Messi. The 2010-11 Barcelona team was the ideal model of how Pep wanted a Barca team under him to play. Regarding Messi, playing in that false 9 position meant he constantly dropped deep to connect with the midfield. He could move wherever he wanted to, and that made him just as dangerous even without the goal contributions. The 5-0 thumping of Jose Mourinho's Real Madrid is the perfect example. Messi didn't get on the score sheet himself, but set up 2 goals on the night and ran that Real Madrid team so hard, it ended up like this. Goals from Messi followed a steady progression that continued that season. He hit the 50-plus goal mark for the first time in his career. 53 goals in all competitions that season, 12 in the Champions League, 31 in La Liga. But it would be impossible to talk about Messi that season without perhaps the most dominant Champions League final of all time. Barcelona didn't just beat Manchester United at Wembley. It was a match that arguably one of United's greatest centre-backs still remembers to this day. Pep left Barca in 2012, and in the 2 seasons that followed, the team struggled. it will be tempting to use the word struggled with Messi because on one hand, more than 100 goals in 2 seasons were still very elite numbers, but the fact that the team failed to replicate the same heights they had in previous years brought questions about certain players being system players, and Messi's name was in that conversation. Some believed it was only a matter of time before Messi would get finished. His response? He became 1/3 of arguably the greatest trio the game has ever seen, the MSN. Neymar joined in 2013, Suarez in 2014. Right from the start, the South American trio hit it running. Neymar on the left, Suarez through the middle, and Messi down the right. They didn't just beat teams. This front three, they destroyed the opposition. It was hard enough getting past just one of these three. Neymar, the Brazilian wonder kid, was finally living up to his reputation. Silky smooth and skillful with the ball. In one-on-ones, he was deadly. Then Luis Suarez, the European Golden Boot holder at the time, and Messi, simply unstoppable. That goal against Bayern Munich in the Champions League highlights Messi during this period. He had the skill to take on opponents, completely humiliate them, and still find the finish on his own. Jerome Boateng was one of the best defenders in the world at the time, and in that moment, Messi had slashed his price tag in half. That season was just something else for Barca and Messi. They won the treble again. The MSN combined for 122 goals and 64 assists in all competitions. Messi's numbers told a story. That goal against Athletic Bilbao is right up there with the greats. Scoring 58 goals is one thing, but in the same season, Messi created 143 chances as well. He'd become the main part of a collective that didn't fear any team. En route to winning the Champions League, Barca beat the champions of England, France, Germany, and Italy. The champions from 4 of the top 5 leagues in Europe all went down to that Barcelona team. This was Messi as the controller of chaos. Tactically, under Luis Enrique, he was brilliant. Emotionally, he was playing to prove the disappointment of losing the 2014 World Cup, and that only made him stronger. But there was one drawback. For the 3 years the MSN lasted from 2014 to 2017, they were incredible. 364 goals and 171 assists together as a trio. But Messi, he became known as one part of the trio, and that was the problem. Many believed he couldn't do it on his own. In 2018-19, Messi was against the odds now. He had to become a version of himself he hadn't been at Barcelona yet, a leader. With Xavi, Iniesta and Neymar leaving the club, Luis Suarez was declining. The midfield options looked slow and lacked the rhythm Barca had for years. This was the real test. And here he delivers his most complete season ever. 50 games, 51 goals, 19 assists, 70 goal contributions, 8 free kicks, 4 hat-tricks and a promise. On his part, Messi became everything for Barcelona. They won La Liga thanks to his brilliance. He scored 36 goals and 14 assists in 34 games and won the Spanish Super Cup. In the Champions League, Messi was in a league of his own. He single-handedly dragged his team to the semi-final. Also, he was not only the top scorer, he was voted as the best forward, won the goal of the tournament. In Europe, he won the European Golden Shoe, the FIFA The Best Award, and at the end of the year, another Ballon d'Or. Messi was the captain of this Barcelona ship, and his performances did the talking. The ball was glued to his feet. Messi played the game like a man on a mission, determined to fulfill that promise as a leader to the Barcelona fans. But then the walls came crumbling. Anfield, the scene of Messi's European collapse with Barcelona. They let a 3-goal lead slip, got knocked out of the Champions League in the semi-finals. It got worse as well. They also lost the Copa del Rey final against Valencia. Barcelona had gone from a potential treble to winning just the league title that season. Messi was devastated. Still, it took nothing away from the fact that Messi had proved a point. He could do it on his own with little or no support. Messi didn't need magic around him now because he was the magic, and eventually the magician shone his wand on world football's biggest stage. But time was passing, and with every game from that point on, physically Messi lost something. Some thought he was playing on borrowed time and would soon retire, but Messi had one more trick up his sleeve, the greatest act of his magical career yet. At this point, Messi looked to be nearing the end. He'd left Barcelona in 2021 to join PSG. But this was all before he'd somehow broken the jinx with Argentina. See, for years Messi had tried. The 2014 World Cup final, back-to-back Copa America finals in 2015 and 2016. Messi had done everything he could to win a trophy with the national team, but it didn't work. At least not until 2021. Under Lionel Scaloni, the national team had rebuilt. Messi was still the central figure, but with the addition of players like goalkeeper Emi Martinez, Rodrigo de Paul alongside experienced pros such as Di Maria, Argentina had stability, and that was the key to finally breaking the 28-year jinx. Messi and Argentina conquered South America. Overcome with emotion, he'd finally done it, finally won a trophy with the national team. But this was still only the beginning. The best would come a year later. He was 35 coming into the 2022 World Cup. There were doubts over his physical condition. How long would Messi be able to run for? Would his presence in the team cost Argentina in the long run? But yet again, Messi evolved into something different. The wizard. He didn't need to run to make the difference. He wasn't the fastest or the strongest, but in moments like this, he could explode. Every touch had a meaning. Every pass was to break the opposition. The team was built to understand him, and in turn, he made each action count. The World Cup final. 8 years ago at 27, Messi had been at that stage. In his physical prime, he failed to win the big one with Argentina. And now standing in his way was a French team led by Mbappe looking to deny him again. The only difference was that this time, Messi wasn't the same man. A brace in the final. The game went to penalties after Mbappe's hat-trick, and the team did it for him. Gonzalo Montiel scored the goal to win it. At 35, Messi had conquered the world. He'd won the World Cup with Argentina as captain, as the main force. Not the fastest or the strongest, but he was the best. Another Ballon d'Or followed. Proof that at that moment, as he had been for almost his entire career, Messi evolved into the final act. 1,095 appearances, 858 goals and 381 assists. Lionel Messi changed football in 4 different eras. He was a goal scorer, a creator, a leader and a winner. He's completed the game, nothing left. There's a lot of young talent in world football right now, but one thing is clear, there will never be another Lionel Messi. Subscribe and like for more untold stories.